Hello, my friends. Your hair is turning gray. But are you sure it's just because you're getting older? Take a moment. Really let that question sink in, not with your mind, but with your heart. Because if you're over 50, and your hair is graying more, faster, even though you still feel healthy, sharp, and mentally clear, then maybe, just maybe, your hair is trying to send you a quiet message from within your body. Why does gray hair show up so early? And what's actually happening when our hair stops holding its color? Well, the answer isn't just age. It's rooted in a delicate system of pigment cells inside our body. A system that needs care, nourishment, and the right kind of attention to stay strong. And in today's video, I want to take you on a journey, one step at a time, from the deeper causes behind early gray hair to a gentle, natural, science-backed method that's helped so many of my patients keep their hair healthy, dark, and vibrant, safely without harsh dyes or invasive treatments. So if you've been feeling like you're aging too fast, if you've ever looked in the mirror and felt a little ache in your heart as you saw your hair change, then I invite you to stay with me, because this video might help you see your hair and yourself in a whole new light, and maybe, just maybe, it'll be the start of something deeper, a chance to care for yourself in a way you may not have before. Part 2. The Pigment Gatekeepers, the secret behind your hair's color. You know, we don't actually lose the color of our hair. We just lose the ability to color it. Sounds the same, right? But actually, it's very different. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine your hair as a paintbrush, and deep beneath your scalp, there are little artists working quietly every day, coloring each strand with care. Their name: melanocytes, tiny, delicate pigment cells that are more important than most people realize. They're the ones who give our hair its black, brown, even grayish hue, depending on the season of our life. But when these cells become tired, depleted, or damaged, the brush is still there, but the paint is gone. That's when gray hair begins. Now here's something most people don't know. Melanocytes don't just vanish because you're getting old. They wear out from chronic stress, from nutrient depletion, from hormonal imbalance, and even from micro damage you never knew was happening. I once treated a 53-year-old woman, a school teacher. She told me, "Doctor, I haven't slept more than 4 hours a night in over 3 years. My hair turned gray from the crown down in less than a year, and I don't know why." We ran some labs, checked her hormones. Everything was just slightly off. But the biggest shift, her oxidative stress levels, the kind that slowly breaks down the protective shield around those pigment cells. You see, melanocytes, they're a lot like us. They need rest, they need nourishment, they need care. They're not invincible, but when we treat them well, they respond almost gratefully. If you pay close attention, you'll notice people who live slower, eat cleaner, sleep deeply, and carry light hearts. They gray much later in life. Not because they're lucky, but because they don't overwhelm the quiet little artists inside their bodies. That's why. When I help my patients restore the health of their hair, I don't start with medication or herbal masks. I start with one simple question: how have you been treating yourself lately? Because gray hair isn't betrayal, it's communication. A signal that something inside you is asking to be heard again. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into how your body actually creates hair color and what disrupts that delicate process. We'll talk about oxidative stress, the key nutrients melanocytes depend on, and a few natural herbs. Yes, even from your own kitchen, that research has shown can gently support your hair's ability to hold its color again. So, are you ready to keep going? Part 3. Hair color doesn't just fade, it gets stolen by silent stress. Remember those tiny artists we talked about earlier? The melanocytes, the little pigment cells working faithfully for decades to paint each strand of your hair. They're dedicated. But they're also fragile. And their biggest enemy isn't age. It's something I call silent stress. Now, silent stress isn't those big waves of anxiety or obvious emotional breakdowns. No, it's the slow drip of daily wear and tear. It's going to bed late, again and again, for no real reason. It's skipping real meals and replacing them with fried food, sugar, or coffee. It's that nagging feeling that something just isn't right, but brushing it off, pretending it doesn't matter. All of that quietly builds up free radicals in your body, tiny molecules that cause oxidative stress. And over time, they erode the protective walls around your pigment cells. Here's a simple image. Your melanocytes are like little candles, and oxidative stress is the wind. Blow on a candle long enough, and the flame dies out. That's exactly what happens when melanin production slows down. Your hair begins to lose its color, and the black fades away. One of my patients, Robert, he's 59, once told me, "I never thought a few years of stress, bad eating, and poor sleep could turn my hair gray this fast." But the truth is, many recent medical studies confirm this. From Harvard University to the American Academy of Dermatology, they've all found that prolonged stress and poor lifestyle habits are the leading causes of premature graying in middle age. But here's the good news. Just because something has faded doesn't mean it's gone forever. One of the amazing things about the human body is that, when you give it the right environment, it knows how to heal itself. And yes, that includes your hair's ability to hold its natural color. Now, I won't promise you that eating one magic food will bring your black hair back in a few weeks. But as a doctor, I can tell you this with confidence. If you reduce stress, and if you nourish your body with the right support, your hair, like a tree after a long drought, can slowly begin to thrive again. So that brings us to the next question. What kind of nutrients actually help those pigment cells function well? And are there natural herbs used for generations that science is finally beginning to recognize? The answer is yes. And in the next part, I'll tell you about some of those ingredients. The quiet companions of dark, healthy hair. That might have been sitting in your kitchen cabinet this whole time, without you ever knowing. Part 4. When herbs become gentle medicine for hair that's quietly changing. You know, not every act of care comes in the form of a pill or a fancy bottle. Sometimes, healing comes from the simplest things. Something in your kitchen, your little backyard garden, or even a memory from your mother or your grandmother. Let me tell you about a quiet afternoon years ago. An old patient of mine, Ellen, in her early 60s, came in for a follow-up. She had long hair, silver at the crown, but still full, shiny, and soft, so beautiful even young women would notice. I asked her, "How do you keep your hair so healthy, without dye?" She smiled and said, "Oh, it's nothing fancy, doctor. I just boil some turmeric, amla, and clove in water, like my mother used to, and use it to condition my hair once a week." I sat silent for a moment, not because I was surprised, but because I was moved. Sometimes modern science is only now catching up to the quiet wisdom our elders have passed down for generations. After that day, I dove deeper into these natural herbs: turmeric, clove, kalonji, amla, hibiscus. And you know what? Modern research is finally confirming what so many cultures have always believed. Turmeric curcumin has powerful anti-inflammatory properties. It helps calm hidden inflammation in the scalp, the kind that silently kills pigment cells. Clove carries eugenol, an antioxidant that helps sweep out free radicals and nourish hair roots. Kalonji black seed is rich in thymoquinone, a compound that helps regulate immune response and support melanocyte function. Amla is packed with natural vitamin C. It helps absorb iron, which your body needs to make melanin. Hibiscus contains anthocyanins, which help slow down graying and revive dry, brittle strands. Fenugreek meth, small as it is full of protein and saponins. It soothes inflammation, reduces hair shedding, and deeply hydrates the scalp. Now, I'm not listing these out for you to memorize like some recipe card. I just want you to know this. Some of the most powerful support for your hair might already be sitting quietly in your home, waiting for you to notice. In recent years, I've seen major dermatology clinics here in the U.S. start blending these herbal formulas, not as some alternative medicine, but as an integrated part of whole-body hair care. Because when your body stops feeling overwhelmed, when you sleep well, eat well, and when you take the time to gently care for your hair, by hand each week, you're not just tending to your scalp, you're tending to your spirit. And over time, you'll notice, it's not just your hair that begins to heal, it's you, inside and out. In the next part, I'll walk you through a few simple ways to combine these herbs, pulling from both folk wisdom and scientific understanding, so you'll not only know why they work, but when and how to use them to support your hair in a way that's gentle, safe, and deeply nourishing. Are you ready for that next step? Part 5. Not all herbs are the same. The right combo is the key to healthy hair. You know, I don't believe in magic formulas or quick-fix promises, because the human body doesn't work like an on-off switch. It moves more like a symphony. Every organ plays its own instrument, every nutrient a different note, and herbs, when combined the right way, they become a gentle harmony, helping your hair find its natural rhythm again. I get asked this all the time. Doctor, can I just use turmeric? Wouldn't it be simpler to stick with amla? I usually smile and ask back, what does your body need the most right now? Is it calming inflammation, restoring pigment, or maybe just a little peace and softness? Because every herb plays a different role. They're not interchangeable, but when used at the right time in the right way, they're not just ingredients. They're like quiet messages of care your body deeply understands. If your scalp feels dry, itchy, maybe a little flaky, your body might be asking for turmeric to calm that underlying inflammation. If you've noticed rapid graying, especially around the crown, that's often a sign your pigment cells are worn out. And amla, rich in vitamin C, can help bring melanin back into production. If your hair feels weak, brittle, or falls out easily, fenugreek and hibiscus may be just what you need to hydrate, strengthen, and keep those strands rooted in. A woman once asked me, she was 61, "Doctor, do I really need to use all 6 or 7 herbs?" I shook my head and said, "No, you don't need many. You just need what's right." Because sometimes, one spoonful of turmeric used the right way at the right time is worth more than a whole list of remedies that don't speak to what your body truly needs. That's why I always encourage my older patients. Care for your hair like you would for an old friend. Learn its moods. Notice its reactions. Adjust gently. No rushing, no pressure, and most importantly, don't blindly follow someone else's recipe without listening to yourself first. Pick 2 or 3 herbs that feel right for your energy, your schedule, and your lifestyle. Do a weekly hair mask, not to turn black overnight, but to say to your body, I'm still here, I still care, and I'm choosing to slow down and really listen to you. In the next part, I'll show you a few simple recipes. Easy, affordable, no fuss. so you can start this journey of hair healing in a way that feels natural, safe, and full of love. And you'll start to see. Sometimes the rebirth of your hair begins with the quiet rebirth of your spirit. Part 6. The Hair Mask Ritual, a quiet moment to come home to yourself each week. Have you ever noticed? In this busy life, some actions might seem small, but when we do them with our full presence, they can become a kind of healing ritual. And applying a hair mask is one of those quiet rituals. I know for many people, hair masks are just beauty stuff, another step in a long to-do list. But for my older patients, I always suggest something different. Make your hair mask a private moment, a space where you come back to yourself, gently without judgment. It doesn't have to be fancy. All you need is a quiet space, maybe your kitchen on a slow Sunday morning, or a warm bathroom just before sunset, a soft towel, a small bowl of herbal mix you made with your own hands, and a little time, 30 to 40 minutes, just to be with your body. During that time, don't do anything else. No news, no emails, no rushing to answer the phone, just be still, let the herbs soak into your hair, and let your mind rest for a while too. One of my older patients shared this with me after doing it regularly for a few months. Doctor, I'm not sure how much darker my hair has become, but I feel calmer. I feel closer to my body, and it feels like I've finally slowed down in the most beautiful way. To me, that's the real goal, because pigment may fade, but the feeling of loving yourself, that should never fade. At this stage of life, hair care isn't about looking young again. It's about reconnecting. Reconnecting with the hair that's walked through so many seasons with you. Reconnecting with the hands you may have forgotten to care for. Reconnecting with the body that still works faithfully every day, even if you've been too busy, distracted, or tired to notice. And if you've ever thought that caring for your hair was silly or too late, I'd love for you to see it differently. I'm not doing this because I feel old. I'm doing this because I know I still deserve love at any age. In the next part, I'll share a gentle care routine. Nothing intense, nothing overwhelming. Just a soft rhythm to help you stay consistent with your weekly hair ritual, based on your body's natural rhythm and the life you live right now. Part 7. A gentle hair care rhythm, nurturing both your hair and your spirit. I don't know about you, but I've never been a fan of packed schedules with bullet points and checklists, especially not after turning 50. At this stage of life, your body doesn't need iron discipline the way it did in your younger years. What it truly needs is empathy. It needs a kind rhythm, repeating softly, like a steady heartbeat in deep sleep. When I help my older patients create a hair care routine, I always say, don't turn self-care into another pressure. Turn it into a lifestyle you grow into, like an old friend. Because when you do something just once, your body won't remember. But when you do it gently, consistently, even the smallest act, your body begins to trust you again. So, what does a realistic hair care rhythm look like? I usually divide it into 3 phases, and you can adjust them freely based on your energy, schedule, and needs. Weeks 1-4, Awakening. This is the phase where you start creating the first rhythm. Pick one specific day each week, maybe Sunday, or any day that feels calm and unrushed for you. On that day, you apply your chosen herbal hair mask. Sit quietly for 30-45 minutes in a peaceful space. Rinse your hair gently with warm water, no harsh shampoos. In the evening, apply a small amount of warm oil to your scalp, just enough to soothe and soften. Weeks 5-8. Sustaining. By now, you may notice your hair feeling softer, less dry, less prone to falling. But more importantly, you begin to remember your hair. as part of your body that deserves care. Continue your mask once a week. Or if life gets busy, stretch it to once every 10 days. Don't force yourself, just keep going, gently. After month 2, harmony. This is my favorite stage, because at this point my patients no longer ask me, "Doctor, is my hair turning black yet?" Instead, they smile and say, "My hair feels healthier and I feel more peaceful." Hair is part of the body, but if you care for it consistently and with intention, it becomes part of your spirit, a quiet place to return to each week, where you can reconnect with yourself. I don't need you to do this perfectly. I only ask you to begin and to stay steady. Because for us, in our wiser years, the miracle doesn't come from one big change. It comes from the small gestures, repeated, gentle, and sincere. In the next part, I'll talk about a factor many people often overlook, but one that deeply impacts your hair's color and strength, your diet and your emotional state, because even if your hair is well cared for on the outside, if the inside isn't nourished, it still won't thrive. Part 8. Hair isn't just fed by herbs, but by what you eat and what you feel. Have you ever noticed, during the seasons when you eat regularly, move slowly and feel at peace, your hair feels softer, falls out less, and somehow even glows under the evening light? But during times of sleepless nights, silent worries, and rushed meals, your hair turns dry, breaks easily, and seems to lose that quiet shine. That's not a coincidence. Let me tell you this, not as a doctor, but as someone who's lived more than half a life, and has watched his own hair turn gray during the hardest days. Hair is part of your body, but it also holds on to your emotions, quietly, patiently. A man in his early 60s once told me this, after the loss of someone he deeply loved. "Doctor, it wasn't just my hair that turned gray overnight, it was my heart." That one sentence stayed with me for years, because it reminded me, to truly heal our hair, we first have to listen to what our heart is holding. Yes, hair needs nutrition, but nutrition isn't just what's on your plate. It's in the silence you create during meals. It's in the mood you carry as you chew slowly. It's in the way you sit down, fully present, not scrolling through your phone, and simply nourish yourself with kindness. If you asked me, "Doctor, what should I eat to keep my hair from graying?" I would say, eat as if you're growing a garden inside you, slowly, gently, and with as much color as possible. Add more leafy greens, more seeds, legumes, and whole grains. Cut back just a little on sugar and deep-fried things. And above all, eat in peace. And what about the mind? The mind is the invisible fertilizer. I've seen people follow the perfect diet, use all the right herbs, but if their mind is anxious, regretful, or tense, their body can't absorb the goodness. But someone with simple meals, a humble little hair mask routine, and a gentle smile on their face, that person will often see their hair soften, strengthen, and even regain its glow. You don't need to become a nutrition expert. You only need to ask one small question before each meal. Am I nourishing myself or harming myself? And before each overthinking spiral, pause just a second and ask, are these thoughts feeding my hair or graying it further? In the next part, I'll help you connect all the pieces, from understanding the causes of graying, to choosing herbs, building your hair care rhythm, eating well, and cultivating peace within. I'll show you how to bring it all together into a simple, doable weekly roadmap. No pressure, no perfection. Just you and your body walking gently, side by side. Part 9. A gentle hair care roadmap, steady, simple, and compassionate enough to truly work. After everything we've explored together so far, you might be wondering quietly to yourself, do I really have the energy to start this now? Is this routine even meant for someone my age? I hear you, that's a real feeling. It's deeply human. And it's one I've come across countless times working with hundreds, maybe thousands of people over 50. Here's what I want you to remember. Taking care of yourself isn't a revolution. It's a series of gentle choices repeated again and again, not perfectly but patiently. And if you're still breathing, still longing to do something kind for yourself, then yes, you're still right on time. So to help you begin easily, without pressure, without perfection, I'd like to offer you a simple roadmap. Not an idealistic checklist, but just a gentle way to reconnect with your body and your hair. Once a week, set aside a quiet morning or afternoon. Prepare a herbal blend that feels familiar to you. Turmeric, fenugreek, amla, clove, whichever one's called to you. Apply it like a gentle meditation, 30 to 45 minutes of stillness. Rinse with warm water, pat dry, and let your hair simply rest. Blue circle that evening or the next day. Gently massage a little nourishing oil into your scalp, coconut, sesame, or any oil your hair loves. Wrap your head in a warm towel for a while, like sending a soft whisper of comfort to every weathered hair root. Every day, drink more water. Add greens, whole grains, and low-sugar fruits to your plate. Ease up on sugar, deep-fried foods, and rushed meals. Whenever you feel weary, pause, place a hand on your chest or gently on your head, and say quietly to yourself, I still deserve to be cared for. See, I didn't give you a complicated 7-step system. I simply invite you to choose 3 or 4 quiet moments a week. To return to yourself, because sometimes hair begins to heal. Not when we force it to change, but when we simply start loving it as it is. A 67-year-old patient of mine once said, after 3 months of this kind of care, Doctor, I'm not sure if my hair got darker, but something in me softened. That, to me, was more than enough. Because at this age, taking care of your hair isn't about looking young. It's about coming home to yourself. Deeply, slowly, and kindly. In the final part, I'll leave you with a few last reflections. Not as a farewell, but as a quiet invitation that your gray hair is not the end of something, but the beginning of a new chapter. One that's lighter, truer, and finally has you at the center. Final part. A gentle goodbye and a quiet beginning. So here we are, at the end of a journey that really wasn't just about your hair. It was a journey back home, back to yourself. Do you remember what brought you here in the first place? Was it a few silver strands that made your heart pause? Was it a quiet curiosity about the changes happening inside your body? Or maybe just a gentle whisper, is there still something I can do for myself? If you've stayed until the very end of this video, then I want to tell you something with all my heart. Thank you. Thank you for listening with such patience. Thank you for staying, not just to hear me speak, but to hear yourself more clearly. You'll notice we didn't talk about medications. We didn't chase promises of quick fixes or miracle youth. Instead, we spoke of simple things. A bowl of herbs stirred by your own hands. A quiet afternoon spent resting with your hair. A meal eaten slowly with intention. A gentle touch on strands that have traveled with you for decades, and it's in those small acts. Done with care, done often. That real change begins. I won't promise your hair will turn jet black again. But I believe this. If you treat your body kindly every single day, it will respond with a soft, lasting revival. So before we part, I invite you to ask yourself just a few quiet questions. How long has it been since you truly listened to your hair? Do you care for it the way you'd care for someone you love? And are you ready to begin again, not to change how you look, but to come home to how you feel? If the answer is yes, Then don't wait. Begin gently. 1 day a week. One bowl of herbs, one quiet moment just for your hair and your heart. And if after a while you don't see the changes you hoped for, please reach out to a doctor or wellness professional. Because every body is unique, and you deserve a care plan made just for you. Before we say goodbye, I want to thank you again, deeply, for trusting me, for sharing your precious time to be part of this space. If today's message touched you in any way, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Your story, your questions, your quiet reflections. They matter more than you know, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and turn on that little bell icon so you can keep walking this journey with me here at Vigor Without Age, a channel dedicated to wholehearted, science-based, soulful health care for those of us over 50. I wish you health. I wish you peace. I wish you joy and the kind of luck that finds you in unexpected moments. And above all, remember this: age may change the color of your hair, but you get to choose how you live with that change. Until next time, I'll be right here, walking beside you, as we keep learning how to live well, live deep, and live beautifully. At any age.